हेलो। अब तो ये बोल बोला।
Hello everyone, we have to discuss about that UPSC mains answer writing 2023 poverty and inequality. Question number 18, poverty and inequality problems that the diverse more the attention in India. Discuss there the implications and suggested how India should address them. Introductions. As started by Mahatma Gandhi, poverty is the worst form of the violence. On the other hand, inequality is even worse. Poverty created a gap between the rich and the poor, a bipolar gap, and but the inequality transcends and across religions, race, caste, gender, etc., and thereby the creating and multipolar gaps and the stark. The stark impact of the rising inequality and the poverty can be the star impact of the rising inequality and the poverty can be the infrared and from the Occupy Wall and street the movement and green zone protected in Iraq, etc. at the global levels and back in India most insurgency and northeast problems and issues in Jammu and Kashmir have roots in the economics and malaise of inequality and poverty body. The problem of the poverty and inequality, the issue of the poverty and the inequality are not getting much attention in public policies and but they the diverse more attention due to the following reason. Poverty. According to the Global's Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index 2018 released by the UN, 271 million pupils and moved out of the poverty between 2005 and 2006 and the 2015 and 16 in India. The poverty rate in the country and has nearly halved, falling from the 55% to the 28 over the 10 years period. And despite this declines are the big bunch of Indian still lives and blowing the poverty line and vicious cycles. Once pupils and get the trapped in the vicious cycles of poverty, it is difficult to break as it's the restrict and opportunity available, lower income poverty and low education quality and limited opportunity. Increasing population, the rate of the growth of the population. ये सो रहे ये से दे दे ये बोल दे जा. Increasing population, the rate of the growth of the population in exist and the growth of the national income in India and the turban and the burdens of reduction in per capita is mainly the worn and by the poor section of society. Urban poor, the COVID pandemics and highlighted the issues of the urban poverty prevalent in the Indian economic who are very the much and vulnerable and to the rural one. According to the census of the 2011 and 17.7% of the urban population uprising 65 million people sleeps in the slums. Unemployment and the under unemployment, there is the educated unemployment and the discussing unemployment and poverty is just other reflected of this aspects. Inequality, according to the World Inequality Report 2022, India is among the poorest and most the unequal countries in India, the top of the 1% and hold the 22% of the total national income, while only the 13% goes to the bottom 50% and there has been other rise in the private wealth in India after the 1991 economic reform, which is the remarkable and up from the to 90% in 1980 and to 60% in 2020. Wealth gave the self and the reinforcing because rich peoples and use their the creators resources to the expand and there's the powers and serious inequality in healthcare according to the Oxfam in inequality report India how India low spending on the public healthcare system and the focus on the supporting private healthcare has led into the serious inequality in access to healthcare and especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. The issue of the inequality and the poverty got even the widened and during the COVID pandemic since there was the significant increase in the wealth of the top 10 and richest billionaires in the country. The rise in income inequality also the manifest itself and in the slowdown in the wages and growth countries. The emergence and inequality are not the necessaries and outcomes of the rising levels of income in the post-liberalization era and but other depictions of the poor's redistributions policies towards the discourage of the accumulations and by the government with due the sensitivity toward the inequality gulf between poor and rich leading to the more and more pupils in other state or penury and the destitutions and the furthermore and exaggerated by the gender gap and the parity in women's holding wealth and implications of the poverty and inequality increase in the health and the social problems. Increase in inequality and the poverty has been the responsible for other wide ranges of health and social problems from the reduced from life expectancy and higher infant and mortalities and to the poor educationals and attended lower the social mobility and increase the level of the violence and mental illness economic crisis and the instability. High levels of the poverty and income inequality are associated with economic and the instabilities and crisis and whereas the more equal society tend to the have longer and period of the sustainable growth and for the instance and current the socials and the unrest and the student protest and could be the seen as it's the symptoms and decrease the productivity and there is the considered and evidence and that the productivity growth rates and the inequality growth rates and are the inversely and related poverty also limited pupils to realize their the full human capital potentials and thus the impending and productivity. Environmental degradations and rising inequalities and the poverty is other barriers in the fight against climate change according to the state of the planet's report and created the inequality can the leads to more rapid environmental and degradation because low income and lead to the low investment in the physical capitals and education societal breakdowns and inequality lead to other societals and breakdown in interest solidarity and the social cohesion. It is the reduced people's willingness and to act for the common good and social cohesion and it is reduced people's willingness to the common good for intense caste groups like the Jats, Marathas and the Patels and the demanding reservations and whilst who's the already in reservations blanket are opening measures to the address and them and both the poverty and inequality required a holistic approach for their the redressal following the measures and can be the taken to address the above issues binding text blanket and according to and the Oxfam report and government are the massively undertaxing the wealthiest and individuals and the corporations and failings to the collect revenue that the could help lift the responsibility of care from the women and the tackle poverty and the inequality. Efficiency delivery of the public services and in India economic reforms and should focus more on the reducing bottlenecks in the delivery of the public services and which can help and the alleviate and poverty and the reduce the inequality and the providing quantity educations and the economic opportunity increase with the skills and education and it's crucial that the government invest in the developing better qualities schools and colleges providing employment opportunities Most of the people who live in the poverty lack skills required and by the industries, and there is a need for the skill training. Increasing the government expenditure and fiscal infrastructures like the public investment in physical and the social infrastructures can be used to the reduce inequality and poverty, like issues like the electorals and reforms and crony and the capitals elections and finding and the corruption should be the part of the reforms agenda to reduce the inequality and poverty alleviations programs. Conclusion: the issue of the poverty and inequality is a major threat to the Indian democracy and require deliberated inequality and poverty busting policies, and while the state is other dominated actor in driving this the agenda, the effort need to be the complementary and by the private sector and the civil society to the accelerate its removals. Question number 19. Highlighting the major issues and the concerning women in India, discuss the role of the self-help groups and other women organization in addressing them. Introduction. Though women constitute almost half of the India population of the 1.2 billion, they are the largely excluded and from the participating in economic activity and decision making, as well as the access to the resources of health, nutrition, education, etc. main body. Most important, the SHGs help women to the understand and the realize and their the unique potential development, the courage to think and act the independently and expressed what they the desires and suffers feel the speak out and the express the fairly express freely and the explore their the district and growth and the development. Women issues and SHG role in addressing them. Economic independence because of the lack of the formal credit mechanism. SGH have the emerges as other visibles and economically arrangement for the financing in interpretations and the ventures of social disadvantaged women. A whopping 94% of the credit allocation is derived to the smalls and the mediums and business helmeted by the men living women and the Smallies and migrate and incentives to fulfill their the business aspirations. SHG becomes and the effective vehicles and especially in the providing financial intermediate solution for the unbanked rural women, and they fulfill the credit requirement through the SHG banks linkage programs. And patriarchals and societies affected the confidence and potential in other survey on the role of the SHG in this the regard, and women have responded and that they feel more and the confident and independence to the deal and with their the difficulties and through the SHG, and they cope better with the patriarchal attitude. Unpaid labor, high rate of the unemployment, low females and labor forces participated rated with the India recording at the migrate and 22.3% in the 2021 in comparison with the 30.3% in 1919, and even though the working woman accounts and for the approximately 432 millions and about the 443 millions are not in the paid formal job role of works. To break out of the shackles and the subordinated entrepreneurships is the innovatives and the simple tools. GS have already made other significant contribution to the developing entrepreneurships attitude among rural women by the enhancing their skills and giving them the chance to engage in the various entrepreneurship activities. low level of health and standard of living. Significant reductions in the important indicators of the health through SHG. Research has shown that the women practices and participatory learning and action show either 49% reduction in the material mortality and 33% reduction in the neonatal mortalities, and lack of the woman representation in the decisions makings and the role of authority enhance the confidence to the participate in the decision making in SHG, and provided women with the confidence and to the participated in decision making affairs at the household levels and as well as at the community level. Assessment the leadership skill active involvement in different and the SHG. ले पानी पी ले अकारी पानी पी लो मैं दिए था पानी पी लो Go wow. Significant reduction in the important indication of the health through the SHGS, and research has shown that the women practices participating learning and the action shows the 49% reduction in the material and morality and the 33% reductions, and lack of the woman representation of decision making and the role the authorized enhances the confidence to the participation in decisions making, and SHGS provided women with the confidence to participate in decision making affairs at the household level as well as at the community level, and engagement the leadership skills and active the involvement and in the different SHGS initiative help members to grow leadership skill. The evidence and also shown and that the often women SHGS leaders are chosen as the potential and candidates for the Panchayati and Pradhan or the representatives of the Panchayati Raj institution PRI. Lack of the feminist solidarity in the patriarchal society. The strategic feminist and the solidarity as women and from the similar background and the grappling and with all the sorts of the tribulations find solace in their the minuscules and community while collectively in endeavoring and to the mitigates each others and woes who's the SHGS and collectively identity and the analysis the problems, and they the analysis problems and face from the perspectives of their the social and economically environment. It helps them to the pool their the migrate and resources women and the financial and the patriarchy and their use of the solving their own problems. Case studies. A study conducted and by the Ashwini and the Des Pandey and the Santanu Khanna in the 2020 and reported that the SHGS have had other strong impact on other range of the indicators and related to the women empowered in the state, including the political participations and the knowledge of administration, financial literacy and mobility and the decisions making. In Maharashtra, alone the 5,27,000 SHGS have had other role to the play in accounting for over 50% of all the women and lead small scale industries and unit in India, and which the shows that the SHGS and can lead to the holistic development of women entrepreneurship and Jivika in Bihar. Jivika is an the SGS based the scheme in the Bihar, providing low interest credit to women and providing the entrepreneurship training to the women, and which has approved and to be a life changing experience for rural women, and it has been supported. It has been supported and the lauded and by the World Bank. Conclusion. The role of the SCGS empowerment is in the administrables and women's in generals and rurals women in participations, and who wants to the empower themselves and must the associated themselves with the SGS and to get empower, and governments and must put the effort to the further popularized the concept by the strengthens SGS in such other way, and that the shows there's women citizens and the requirement. The role of the SHGS in the empowerment of the women is the miserable women in the general and the rural women in particulars, and have the experienced remarkable changes in their the economically, social and the physiological state because of the SHGS. Government must put the effort to the further popularize this concepts by the strengthening SHGS in the such a that the should bear the women citizens requirement. Question number 20. Due globalizations and equal the westernizations, and to what the extended has the globalization been the successful in the offering opportunity and benefits for the Indian society, and critical examines introduction. Globalization is an the ongoing process that the include and the interconnected changes in the economic, culture, social and the political spheres of the society, and westernizations is the changing brought about in Indian society and culture as a result of over